Okay, so we're now going to be looking at parallel and perpendicular lines. So you should have done the activity already with the Desmos, and if you have not, please go do so, pause this, go do it, and come back. So we're going to go through a summary. So parallel lines are two lines that run beside each other, and they will never touch. This means that they have the same slope. So when we look at the equation, the numbers will be the exact same. They may, however, have different y-intercepts. So what that means is they are not going to be overlapping each other. They are going to be beside each other. So I could have since this one is a slope of, or not a slope, sorry, a y-intercept of 7. This one's 25. I could have another one at 35 up here, and it would run beside it the whole time. They will never touch. Perpendicular lines, however, are lines that cross at a 90-degree angle. So as we can see here, it is a 90-degree angle. So what this means for their slope is they have opposite slopes. So when we're looking at the equation, they will have opposite slopes where the m value is. So what you're going to do is you're going to change the sign. So it's going to go from a positive to a negative, and you're going to flip the fraction. So the 5 is now going to come to the top, and the 2 is going to go to the bottom. So 2/5 is now going to become negative 5/2. So if I was going to give you a slope of y equals 7x plus 4, so remember, this means it's 7/1. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip the sign, so it goes from a positive to a negative, and our fraction would flip. So our 1 would now go on top, and our 7 would go on the bottom. And then we would just fill out the rest of the equation. So let's do another one. If I was to give you y equals negative 2 plus 6, it would go y equals, so we change the sign, so it would turn into a positive, and then we would flip the fraction. So this is originally 2/1, which means the 1 would come onto the top, and the 2 would go onto the bottom. So when we see that they have opposite slopes, that means that they are parallel to each other. They might not have the same y-intercept, so just like the other one, their y-intercepts can be this, or it can be different. So this can be 9, but these m values must be opposite. So we're going to go fill this part out. So to find the slope of an equation, remember, we always need slope and our y-intercept. So we're looking at y equals mx plus b. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here, is find the equation of a line that is parallel. So what that means is parallel is the same slope, I can't spell, to y equals 3x plus 5 and has an x-intercept, a y-intercept of 6. So our y-intercept is b. So I would write that down. So figure out when it's parallel, same slope. So we're going to go look at this equation, and our m must be 3. And then it has a y-intercept of 6. So our b is 6. So when we write that out, it's y equals 3x plus 6. So it now has the same slope as this equation. So find the equation of the line that is perpendicular to this here. So perpendicular means we need to flip. I'm just going to bring this down. Means we need to change, we'll do this, change the sign and flip the fraction, right? So that's perpendicular. So we're going to take a look at, this is for slope, so we're going to take a look at 2/3, so it's a positive. So what are we going to do? We're going to make it into, so our m is now a negative. And then we're going to flip the fraction. So it's 2/3, and we're going to now do 3/2. We don't need to fill the rest out because we only need the slope from that. And it has the same y-intercept, so that's the b spot, as this equation here. So we know that our m is -2/3, and our b is equal to the same as this equation here, which is -4. So we now write our own equation as y equals -3/2 x minus 4. So we're just taking our information here and plugging it into the y equals mx plus b equation. So we're going to go through the next one. So find the equation of a line that is parallel. So I would almost highlight if it's parallel or perpendicular. And parallel means same slope. So if it's the same slope, it means that our m value, we need to rearrange it. So our m value will be 3. Because if we rearrange this equation, because remember, this always has to be in the position closest to the y. So our slope, the 3x, we know that's our slope because it has an x beside it, plus 5. So we would just rearrange the equation so it looks right in the y equals mx plus b spot. So our slope is 3. And we now have to find it passing through a point 0, 7. So what we're going to do is we are going to plug in our point and our slope, because now we need to find what our b is, right? B equals what? Because that's what we need to find for our equation. So we're going to take our y equals mx plus b. So y equals, our m is 3. We're going to put this into our equation, 0 plus b, and we're going to also put our y in there. And then it's going to equal 7 equals 3 times 0 is 0 plus b. So 7 equals b. So our b is now 7. So we can now put our information into our equation. I'm just going to change the color. So our equation is y equals, we found our m, which is 3, x, and we found our b, which is 7. And that's our answer. So find the equation of a line that is parallel. And parallel, again, same slope. I did not spell slope. Same slope to this one here. So our slope, we're going to take our slope and put it m equals -2. And I would suggest that you do this on the side. It's easier to follow, and I find I don't lose information that way. And then we have, and it passes through this point. So we're going to do the same thing we just did above it. So we have our slope, but we do not have our b value. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our equation y equals mx plus b, and we found m, so y equals negative 2x plus b, and we're going to fill it out. So our y is our 4, because we're going to plug this point into the equation to find our b. So our y, which is 4, equals, we're going to negative 2 times 3 plus b. So when we do this, 4 equals negative 2 times 3 is 6 plus b. So now what do we have to do here? So we now have to get the b by itself. So what do we have to do from both sides? We have to minus 6 from both sides, because whatever we do to the one side, we have to do to the other. So 6 minus 6 is 0, so that crosses that out. And 4 minus 6 is negative 2. Just changing colors here. So we have negative 2 equals b. So we have now found our b value. So we can go in and change that to negative 2. So we're going to write our equation at the bottom as y equals negative 2x minus 2, because we are now substituting our information into y equals mx plus b. And we can see that this one was done. So find the equation of a line that is perpendicular. So what does that mean? It means you must flip and do the inverse. I guess that's flip. Do the inverse of this. So you're going to flip the sign, and then you're going to flip the fraction itself. So we're going to figure out what our slope is. So our slope is negative 2. So what we're going to do is flip the sign to begin with. So it's going to go positive. And then the 2 is going to go on the bottom, and the 1 is going to go on the top. So we now have our m. We now have our slope. And then it passes through the points 8 and negative 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all of the information we know, so our point and our slope, and plug it into y equals mx plus b, because we now need to find, because we don't know what our b is. So we're going to take our y equals 1/2, so we just found the opposite slope and plugged it in, x plus b. And we're now going to take each of these points, so we're going to take the x point and the y point and plug it into this equation. So negative 3 is put into the y spot, 8 is put into the x spot, and we now calculate to find b. So we get negative 3 equals 4, because 8 times 1/2 is 4. Because remember, 1/2 is also, if you do it in your calculator, 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. So 0.5 times 8 is 4. And then we plus b. And to get rid of 4 on this side, because it's a positive 4, we have to minus 4. And whatever we do to the right side, we also have to do to the left side. So we have to minus 4 from that side as well. So negative 3 minus 4 is negative 7. So negative 7 equals b. So we're going to now plug our m value and our b value into our y equals mx plus b equation. And we now have our answer. So what I'm going to get you guys to do is to practice some of those. And if you do need help, contact me.